That's a good one. That's a good one. Oh, God, it's a toad, son. It's a toad, dude.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day.
Ben cut us off. He ruined the intro.
These guys having a little.
That's it. We're restarting. No, I'm just kidding.
Go for it.
I guess I can't say it live.
we were making eye contact.
Maybe a little Andrew Upshaw moment going on over here.
Oh,
So for those who might know that, well,
you just laughed really hard. Anyway, welcome to the OneCast. We're coming at you live from Raleigh Tap Yard, Warrior Fest 2024. Huge fundraising event for Warrior Fishing. If you're in the Raleigh area, even if you can't come hang out, come up, get you a plate of barbecue or a couple hot dogs to go. All that money goes towards supporting getting our veterans, our warriors out on the water. Of course, we wouldn't be here without the support of the companies that work with us. So OneCast Fishing, head to OneCastFishing.com. Use the code OneCast at checkout. Save you 15%. What's going on, Comic Man Andy? 10%, 15%, whatever it saves you, I don't remember.
for which one?
OneCast, is it 10 or 15? 10%.
10%.
At checkout. That's code the OneCast, all one word, at OneCastFishing.com. You can go from there
over to CarolinaWatersNC.com. Get your Carolina Waters apparel. They got awesome UPF 50 gear, from shirts, hats, neck buffs, gloves, all that good stuff that keeps us protected on the water. So head on over to CarolinaWatersNC.com. Use the code the OneCast. And also, while they're online, Ben, what can they check out?
Well, they need to pick up their phones, go in their app store. They need to type in Deep Dive and download the Deep Dive app. Use that free trial and check it out. There's a lot of features in there. So you're sitting on your couch planning your next fishing trip. Have it available when you're on the water. When you're struggling, you need a new idea. It's going to have weather conditions, best bait, potential locations, great data. It's all database, so it's a great way to help improve your fishing.
Absolutely. And also, guys, use the link that Pete puts in the descriptions of all of our shows to head on over to HobieEyewear.com. Ben and I are rocking them right now. Pete's not, because he can't see the computer screen.
Yeah, I got to read your comments.
Yeah, you got to be able to read the comments. But head on over to HobieEyewear.com. Use the link that Pete has. You're going to save 15% on your Hobie eyewear. Right now, I'm rocking the floating frames. Ben's got the lifestyle frames. We've been talking about them all year long. They're amazing sunglasses. They'll keep you protected and make you look good while you're on the water or wherever you're at. So, man.
Absolutely. Happy to be here. This is exciting. This is like maybe the fanciest setup we've ever had at an on-location shoot.
Well, where have you done location before? We've done Hartwell.
Yep. We did
Angler's Choice.
You guys were,
but that was recorded.
We recorded that one, yeah. We recorded Hartwell as well.
Yeah, I think we did record Hartwell. I mean,
the Classic. We went live with the Classic.
Went live
with Larry. I remember that.
From
yeah,
the 1920s farmhouse.
That's right.
Yeah, with the creepy bedroom up there.
Creepy bedroom. Yeah.
That we stuck your dad in, Pete.
Yeah, we did. That was funny.
Let's give a huge shout out real quick. David and Christine Fuchs, they drove all the way down from New Jersey. It's their anniversary weekend. They drove down to drink some cold beverages with us. Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
How many years?
It's 10 years. David and Christine are looking at us right now. It's a 10-year anniversary. So
it's a decade.
Yeah, congratulations. I mean, at the end of the day, you owe it all to Christine, David.
That's right.
So you're welcome.
Yeah, she gets all the credit for putting up with you. Absolutely.
But yeah, man, this is super cool, man. Like we've never been to Raleigh. We never went live in Raleigh. Like, this is a really cool venue. These guys were super gracious enough to hook us up with a table up here at 5:00. They're going to have bands that are playing live.
6.
Is it 6:00?
Yeah. 6.
Okay. So, 5, we'll debark. We'll break everything down, and 6:00, the bands will come out. So if you guys are in the Raleigh area, come out, check out the Tap Yard in Raleigh. We've already seen a bunch of friends that have came up here, drink some cold beers, whatever the case may be, play some,
cornhole.
Some cornhole, some pinball,
bags, whatever you call it.
You can bring your dogs up here, your pets and stuff like that.
Connect 4 rocking out here.
I know, dude.
Big Connect 4. Lots of people hanging out.
Yep.
Lots of people with their pets. Like you said, you can bring your dog. You can bring your dog. I don't think I'd bring a cat.
I don't know. You can bring your cat.
I guess you can bring a cat. Yeah.
You've seen people walk their cats?
I have. It's something. If you wash your cat, no knocks to you, but it's that's a little weird.
I'm gonna tell my wife.
My friend does it. My friend does.
Before we get into what I really want to talk about, the reason we're here is mental health veterans, and whether you're a veteran or not, it's just mental health in general. We got to talk about. We had Brad Fuller on. We talked about the MPFL's decision to ban forward-facing sonar, and that started the trend. Bass the next day, I believe it was, announced their rules changes related to technology, which is one forward-facing transducer has to be on the trolling motor, no more than 55 inches of screen total on the boat between the console and the bow. Which a question I raised was: it says in the rule console and bow, are we going to see dudes try to mount them somewhere that isn't the console or the bow so they can have another screen? Are we going to see a screen mounted on the back deck? I don't know.
I still think you're limited to 55 inches.
Yep.
We'll have to see what
I did the math here.
Says.
That is 4 12-inch screens and a 7-inch screen.
There you go.
We'll have to see what the actual rule says versus the press release.
That's true, yeah.
If it says on the boat, but we all know how good bass anglers are at bending rules. Like if it says bow and console, you may see some creative mounts come out of it. But that, to me, this is my opinion. I'm gonna let you guys give yours after mine. Didn't really do anything.
Yeah.
The folks that are still really good with forward facing are still going to be able to have their forward facing on the trolling motor. They're still going to go up there and catch them that way. The schedule set up a little bit different, so that Chelsea's taking some video and pictures of us. The schedule is going to set up a little different to where maybe some of the events aren't going to be as heavily relied on that. When you look at going back early February to the St. John's, probably a flipping deal like fishing shallow. I'm not overly familiar with St. John's, so even some of the lakes and stuff, I don't know how much sight fishing plays.
Yeah, what's particularly interesting about St. John's is like that river spawns a lot later. So they'll actually in Okeechobee, like they could be done, because that's the second event, they could be done spawning. Like they may not even have started yet, because I remember, I think MLF went this year and they went later. Who went later this year?
I know Bass Opens went.
The Opens went. Bass was there a little bit later.
They went later this year, and there were still some guys catching spawners.
Yeah.
Right in the lakes and the springs and some of the stuff around there. So, I guess with the current, maybe it's cooler water and all. And so that'll be interesting.
But for me, I don't want to get in the schedule because we got to record an episode.
Oh yeah, that's true.
But for me, their rules didn't really change anything. I don't know. What are your guys' opinion?
I'll provide mine. No. Short answer, they didn't really change anything. I also agree that they don't really need to change much for BASS being the top level of bass fishing. You know, we had many conversations about like where at what point should they limit technology or whatever, and several conversations led to, you know, maybe at the beginner's level, I hate to say it like that, but maybe at the novice level, like you limit technology, which we're seeing happen, and then
we're going to get to that
when you get all the way up to the top. So no, reality is most of those guys that were catching them utilizing that technology, a lot of them were catching them using one forward facing sonar transducer. It wasn't 15 different transducers. So I don't think it changes much. And you're seeing a lot of elite Sears anglers come out and say, you didn't really make any changes whatsoever.
I do want to say the biggest, while we're talking rules changes, we're on bass. The most outspoken folks have been about this information gathering rule.
For sure.
Typically, before this rule came out, or the change came out, once the schedule was announced, essentially there was a no information period. You couldn't reach out to guides. You couldn't reach out to locals, buy waypoints. The schedule's been dropped. And they put a little sentence at the end of it that kind of snuck in there that said the no information period will now start January 1st, 2025 at what, 12:01 a.m. or 12, whatever it is.
Like 11:59.
Yeah. So now you've kind of taken away, for lack of a better terms, you had an arms race with forward facing sonar, right? Everybody was trying to see how many transducers, where they could put them to get a competitive edge. You've sort of quelled that with the one transducer rule. But now you're telling me I can go buy information for the next 4 months or 3 months, right? October, November, December. So part of the reason why Bass changed their information rule back in the day is there were certain anglers, and I'm not going to say names. If you know, you know. If you don't, ask, and I'll tell you offline. I'm not going to call anybody out. But there were certain anglers that could afford to pay people to go out and drop waypoints for them, knowing they were going to say Hartwell in March. Right. And they know, okay, it's pre-spawn. I need brush piles in these areas. go mark every brush pile on the lake. Here's $2,000. And then somebody would go out and they would drop waypoints and they would send them an SD card. And now they've got all of these brush piles marked, right?
Yeah.
Bass went away from that because anglers complained there was a competitive edge because of that. Whether you agree or not, that was the complaint. And now we're back to where that comes down to, if you have the money to pay, you can now buy information ahead of time. And it does leave some people behind the 8 ball who can't afford to do that, because I mean, we've seen people leave this year because of the financial issues that it caused, that left in the middle of the season because they couldn't afford to do it anymore. Now you've got folks, if you can pay for that information, you could potentially do better in a tournament because of it. And probably the biggest thing that bothers me about that decision is Bass pulled all the anglers and then had a vote, and they overwhelmingly voted for something completely different. But Bass went ahead and made a decision to roll with that.
Yeah. So
And that sort of bothers me. Why even ask your consumer, your customer? So if you look at fishing, and I'm going to let you go in 1 second, Ben. If you look at fishing, the anglers are the customer, right? The consumer is the viewer. So the customer is providing the product to the viewer. Bass is giving that medium for that to be provided. So it's sort of like, if I manufacture something, I sell it to my customer, who's the store, who then sells it to the consumer, who ultimately uses that product for entertainment, whatever it is, food, water, diapers. Yeah. So now what you're saying is you've asked them their opinion, the customer. Do you think this is a good idea? No, we hate that idea. Well, we're going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
And to me,
So-
why even ask?
So yeah, maybe they didn't ask. I think
No, they did. It's well documented.
what I'm saying is, if you're going to make that decision, and I can see from a business perspective with the opens and all, and you go to the same places, and then, I mean, there is a reason why you go to those same lakes, infrastructure, funding, etc. It would be very hard to say no information when you have new qualifiers coming up that they're on those lakes.
Right,
Now,
right.
So, with that said, my entire thought behind what Bass did is there's fundamentally no change on the periphery. Yeah, when it comes to the technology limitations, there would be some anglers who, okay, they can't have 3 live scope transducers, right? But look, you could still have, I did the math, 4 12-inch screens and a 7-inch screen. I mean, you could still have 2 MBT 27-inch screens if you wanted.
Right.
Right? You still have your primary forward-facing transducer. So I think fundamentally with the live scope thing, there's no change. 2, with the no information rule, I don't think it's a big deal. Number 1, how many times do anglers talk about in practice they found awesome stuff, they mark all this stuff, and then what happens?
They talk about other people.
No, my fish disappeared.
Oh, well, there's that.
We always talk about you can't catch another man's fish. Getting waypoints 6, 7, 8 months before an event. Yeah, on the edges, on the periphery, someone might luck into something awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, it's not going to matter.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, what people fail to realize, and I think what they, with these young rookies, they were accusing them of doing this.
Oh, I mean, they got caught doing it. They failed a lot.
So JT, yes, but the other, all the other ones. But what they fail to realize is that the off limits period to go get your own information, to go get your own waypoints, that's not changed.
Mm.
You can still be out there 31 days before an event, and that's way more relevant. If you got the time, money, drive, to me, cutting it off for an event that's in May, getting information from in January on the edges, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Because even if you get an SD card riff, you're going to need hundreds or thousands of waypoints because you don't know what's going to work and what's not. So now do you even have a bigger problem?
Yeah.
As an angler, trying to, okay, which ones do I go check out first? And look, someone may luck into the first 10 they go to is a mother load, and they got that information.
Yeah, see, where I disagree is they've got enough experience now on these lakes that they know X time of year. The last 15 times we've been there, it's been one-off brush piles and 15 foot of water, and now I've just paid somebody $100 for every single brush pile and 15 foot
More
of water.
importantly, I think
that's where the biggest
goes
issue
to the
is.
same lakes every year.
Well, yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
I can go buy waypoints right now for all these lakes, and then
That's true.
5 years if I qualify for the elite. Like, if someone, I don't think it's a big deal.
All I'm going to say outside looking in is if almost every angler has an issue with it, clearly there's more there to it than just what we believe. We're not living it, so we're giving our opinions. There's got to be more to it, right? Like maybe it's the guide information or being able to get that info. I don't know. What are your thoughts, Trey?
I just think there's a risk you run both ways. I think there's a risk you run by limiting the off limit or extending the off limits period. Certain anglers will thrive from it, and then certain anglers will be it'll denigrate their ability, right? And that's if you allow other people to write the playbook for you. And I think that, it's never been done really before. I don't know if it's going to complement those fishing the EQs or not. And that was the biggest stink this year, was the guys coming from the EQs. Like they were able to take like technically off limits period into the 2024 season. But, I don't really know. If I was standing in somebody's shoes in the Elite Series, I don't know which way I would go with that, because
I know which way you do. How often do you wipe your waypoints?
Pete
not anymore.
Really smashed me for it, but I wipe my waypoints all the time. You bring up a good point, right? Like I don't like to go off history.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up, kids? You guys can hear some kids in the background and stuff like that. They're just playing, but
they're sword fighting some butterflies behind us right now.
I don't personally like to go into a tournament with a bunch of history in mind. Like I like to wipe everything that I have, and I like to go into it with a fresh, optimistic mind. But that's not the case, depending on the time of the season. So I think at the same time, while it probably hurts some anglers, it may benefit them as well. So I think it's a catch-22 with this one. I think we're going to have to see how this really shakes out for the 2025 season.
Yeah, and until we see how the impact actually is, we won't know, right?
I don't understand why the anglers are so upset with it.
Oh, man, they're hot.
And again, we don't know everything, but like the Opens and the Elite Series are going to overlap quite a bit.
Here's why I think
it's going to overlap.
I think they're upset because they asked their opinion. They voiced their opinion, which was overwhelmingly against what they did, and then they did it anyway.
Well, I understand that.
So I think that's where the frustration is.
I don't know if they're thinking it through. If that's the reason.
Yeah.
Because those lakes are going to overlap. There's
100%.
That's going to happen, and they all know that. So actually, now this year they were griping so much at the Open guys.
Yeah.
Well, now they have the same advantage they had.
No, I don't disagree. I don't disagree with you. It's just I think the frustration from the anglers, and I'm working on getting an Elite Series or two dude on to talk about it who have voiced frustration. I believe it is just because they asked the opinion.
Can I give this hat away?
Yeah, give it to the kid. Absolutely. Yeah.
You want the hat?
You want the hat, dude?
I put them on him.
Ben's gonna give.
You gonna take a picture?
This is either gonna be a freak out moment or we've made a new fan. All right, yeah, dude.
He's like, get this
freak out moment. Way to go, Ben! You made the kid cry. Oh my goodness, unbelievable! Ben Huffman, ladies and gentlemen, has this kid now in a full-on temper tantrum.
But he's still walking around.
But he's still walking around. He's got a new sweet hat.
Still got it on.
No, you can have it. That's your hat, dude. Yeah. But
that kid just became the next Bassmaster Classic winner.
Yeah, hopefully he remembers this day. But yeah, no. So Ben, to your point, you're right. Everybody's on a level playing field. I just think the frustration is from why ask. If you're gonna ask, why ask? Overwhelmingly, like I haven't seen exact numbers, but they've been shared, and I don't remember off the top of my head because I've drank way too many beers. They've been shared, and overwhelmingly, like better than 80% said we don't agree with changing to this, and they did it anyway. So why ask? If you're going to do it, do like the MPFL did. They didn't want to ask. They said this is what's best for our business. This is what we're doing, and they did it, right? Now some anglers are mad they didn't ask. That's perfectly logical. Like you're allowed to be upset you weren't asked. But why ask? Officially ask. And then be like, hey, F you, buddy. We're going to do what we want to do anyway. And that's what I think people are frustrated about.
Yeah, it's a weird business, man. Like the professional fishing world as a whole.
It's in a weird spot right now altogether.
Do you guys feel like, and this is just internal conversation so everyone can hear, like, do you feel like this has been like the most vocal and most like, I don't know, like
turbulent time in fishing since we were alive?
No.
No.
2019.
What was going on then?
The split.
Split.
Oh, the split. I think we forgot.
It was a
about
whole
that.
different conversation then, though. Like,
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
There's like the vitriol from people
Yeah.
that
yeah.
that it, I mean, there were some people who lost. They did lose friendships.
They ended friendship.
Yeah.
They ended friendships
You
over
look
it.
at
really
and now
did.
Zaldane and Skeet Reese.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
very close in that whole decision or
And
lack of.
I think Chris and all they talked about it on their podcast.
They did,
like,
yep.
they
And
were
that's the only
screaming
reason
at
I
each
brought
other.
it up.
Yeah.
Like it literally ended a friendship.
Yeah.
So, that is by far the most, and that probably put us in a position where
We're there though, dude.
I
Like
think so.
you could see it happen again. Have you seen like the reactions to people? I'm sure you have. I mean, you've
but-
been busy, so you haven't really been looking.
well,
I've been spending my evenings looking.
I've tried to tune some of that because I'm tired of hearing the same
you?
5 different opinions.
But you're starting to see that same sort of divide where it's like,
honestly,
I'm right, you're wrong.
I think the last 2 days after decisions have been made, I think some people have started to calm down a little
I
bit.
agree.
Yeah, I think so. Too.
People are like, okay, they made a decision.
Yep.
There's lots of options now. So let's talk about MLF first. Congratulations to Nick Kincaid. He finally bought a boat.
And Nick's watching too.
Finally bought a boat.
Nick
He
bought a
texted
boat.
us. The very first sticker to go on his new Ranger was the OneCast sticker.
Oh.
So
he
supporting the
bought
show.
a Ranger.
He bought JC Helms, who was an angler in our club for a long time, who passed away. JC was a heck of a dude. He bought his old, or not old, it was 2004 Ranger 185, and he bought it to help keep his memory alive in the club. So
Is he going to kick Mike to the curb now?
he might, yeah. Mikey's on his own now, solo again. So congratulations, Nick. I'm gonna look at Christine or David said this kid's gonna grab one of the hats. Yeah, he was about to snatch one, so we gave him one, and then Ben made him cry. Comic Man Andy.
It's not Ben's fault.
It's not Ben's fault.
It's
not
my
Ben's
fault,
That's Tracy's
actually.
Comic Man Andy said if it wasn't so far from Michigan, I'd be there. Well, we appreciate you're here
Yeah,
in
man.
spirit. You're joining us
Hey,
live.
drink a beer with us anyways.
And yeah, so where I was going was MLF.
MLF rules,
MLF made
yeah.
some rules changes as well. Forward-facing sonar limited to and 360. They threw 360 in there, which I thought was a little odd.
Interesting.
You're limited to one transducer of each type or 2 of one type. So you can have 2 360s, you can have 2 lives, you can have 1 and 1.
2 3
However you want to do it, it's up to you.
Yeah.
They also had more stringent rules, and this is going to get some people as far as how the bow and console drafts.
So this I do agree with. Basically, I don't. You might have.
So
the
additionally,
intention
no
how high
bow
it can be.
So it said no bow mounted screen may extend vertically more than 18 inches off the surface of the front deck at its highest point when the boat is on plane.
Dang, sorry, beat down outdoors.
And no screen mounted at the console may extend vertically more than 16 inches off the top of the steering column. Very important. Where it protrudes from the console. So even with a 12-inch graph,
Well, so 12
depending
inches
on how
diagonal,
high it's
so that's,
matted,
that's probably 9
it
inches.
depends on how high above the steering column it is.
Well, I'm just trying to think about my boat. So like, well, if I had a 12-inch, I got, but like, so that's probably 9 inches vertical, right,
Yeah.
for a 12-inch
Yep.
screen.
Yep.
And you said 16 inches.
16
So
They can still rock a 12, right?
above the steering column.
above the steering column, which sits below.
The
So your
steering wheel.
steering column, and then typically your graph mounts are somewhere.
Most people have an issue with it. There will be a couple guys.
It depends on the boat manufacturer.
Now
one.
the bow is the one.
The
that's-
bow-
The
gonna
bow's
be
the
an issue.
one. Yeah.
And then they have banned. There's no change to Toyotas or BFLs. They can still do whatever they want. But high school
High
can
school.
no longer use forward-facing sonar during competition. They can use it in practice, but they have eliminated it from competition, which I love.
I mean,
And I know we have some high school guys on here. You're about to get mad, but there are a lot of young anglers that need to learn how to fish. And I don't mean that to be a jerk. There's a lot of them that depend on that. We've seen it with guys coming to the opens. Dudes have literally come to the opens, had their forward-facing sonar go down, and they have put the boat on the trailer and left because they can't use their forward-facing sonar.
Everybody stop for 1
We're
second.
going to take a picture real quick. Awesome. Well, so
I think it's good because high school there's like no sponsors and you got boat captains and like you want to be able to have a level playing field for people.
Right.
financially,
So financially that
Yeah.
makes a ton of sense too. I wanted to go back. The other thing that BP T did is that although they allowed using live scope and Humminbird, it's only for one period.
That's right.
Nick
Per
said
day.
Nike won't know what to do without me.
Yeah, I saw that.
Per day though, right?
It's one
Per day.
period per day, and it has
Per
to be
day.
declared before the period starts, and then they're going to do a whole tracking thing on the score tracker.
I'm okay. They're trying to do something. I don't like it. I wouldn't like it from a competitor perspective, because that's just like you're practicing your strategy. Yeah, okay, you're gonna have to find multiple patterns, but like that's changing rules during the event. I just don't like it.
Do you feel like
I love it. Just so you know.
Well, let me
That's
ask.
fine.
Let me ask you guys this, right? Because I could care less because not a single person sitting at this table makes any living whatsoever off fishing tournaments. And
That's
guys,
true, yeah.
we are all coming from you from a viewer perspective. And I think that's very important, right? Because you have the angler perspective, you have the viewer perspective, you have the vendor business perspective, right? We're coming at you from the viewers, right? But nevertheless, I want to get your guys' take on why this is happening, because we had Brad Fuller on. You guys all saw that. President, part owner of the National Professional Fishing League, and they set the bar, right? They did their thing. They made a decision. They banned it. Bass came out. They have their decision. BPT came out. They made their decision. Do you think that we're just making stuff up now? No.
I think they're trying to figure out this. I'll go first. I'll let Ben go first. I want to counter what Ben said. He doesn't like it. I like it, and I like it from a viewer perspective. What MLF did, because it forces the anglers to diversify what they're going to do in a tournament.
Okay.
You can't just go out there and ping a minnow. You can't just go out there and do this. You can't just go out there and do that. You're going to have multiple patterns.
Sure.
So you're truly going to test the angler's knowledge. Now, I can still go out there and catch them without forward facing on a minnow, right? Like,
Yeah.
I can still side scan them. I'll know where they're at. I can still do my thing, but it's not as effective, right? So now, do I want to depend on, okay, the school's there. I might throw 300 times to catch 10 fish, where with forward facing, I can throw 100 times to catch 10 fish, right? Like, because I can see how they're reacting. Now I've got to make a decision. Is that risk reward worth it? Do I want to do that? Or do I want to, in the first two periods, bang on the shore while those fish are shallow, and once it gets hotter in the day, go offshore and ping them with a minnow?
Right.
It just forces you to do different things, in my opinion, in a tournament day, and that's why I like it. And back to your point, I don't think we're just throwing stuff at a wall to see what sticks. I think what we're doing is they're trying to figure out the balance between competition and viewership.
Sure.
Because you have to have viewership to pay the bills.
I agree.
You have to have good competition to keep anglers wanting to fish with you.
Yeah.
What is the right answer? Is it fully banning it, or is it one period? Is it one tournament,
Or is it
one transducer? What is it? And I think now we'll have the ability to look at metrics across 3 leagues, and we can say this worked, this didn't work, this sort of worked.
Yeah.
And you're going to see adjustments, I believe, from each of the leagues over the next 3 to 5 years while they try to dial in and where that is. But I fully agree with each of them making a decision at this point, because where is technology going? What are we going to have next year that we don't have this year? What are we going to have in 2 years that we don't have this year? If they didn't take a stand, would it be too late when it got to a point where we're using things like Omni sonar that they use offshore, where they can literally lock onto a billfish and follow it around the ocean in the middle of nowhere?
Yeah.
Ben, I want to hear your point, because I know your technology opinion and mine are a little bit different. So do you think they're just throwing stuff at a wall to see if it sticks?
In a sense, yes, because the reason why we're in this topic is so polarized, and me personally, I think it comes down to there is a divide going on between. So in the competition, what's the goal of the bass tournament? It's
to win.
To win. How do you do that? Catch the biggest fish.
100%.
Or the most, right? Actually, it's the most weight. Regardless of which format you're using, it's still the most weight. You want to catch the most weight of fish. And there's been people who've adapted that have done very well. And what they have shown us is that what we thought was true about bass fishing is not true. That the biggest fish in the lake are not doing in the traditional spots.
Right.
So there is a divide of people who have been fishing for so many decades or so long, or have done it. Like, this is how the sport is supposed to be done.
Yeah.
Whereas that's obviously not been it's not the most conducive way to catch the biggest fish on the lake. Because these guys have been getting their, if they haven't been using it, they've been getting their butts kicked for the most part.
Right.
And so that's where the debate is like, and I do agree. And I think it's a constructive conversation of what is considered the sport of fishing. Sure. I mean, look, the professional sports go through this. They change rules all the time. I mean, pitch clock.
I was just going to say
the kickoff in football, the roughing the passer things, right? The old schools are like, this is not football. This is,
Yeah.
So
yeah, I want my quarterbacks to not be able to say their own name in 10 years.
Exactly, right? So, and so we see this. Basketball's the same way, right? They, they can't, the defense used to be so physical back in the day, but at the same time, they couldn't play zone. So it's more sophisticated now. Anyway, regardless, so that's a whole nother debate. So I think we're just trying to, as a fishing community, we're trying to
find our way.
We're trying to find our way and figure out what is it that we want to have this sport to be. Is it really about catching the most fish? The biggest fish that actually live in that body of water? Or is it about relying on some type of intuition and stuff that's augmented by some technology? But at what point does that intuition, experience, knowledge in pre-fishing, when does that leap over to where now it's the technology is a crutch, right?
Sure.
And so I think it's going to be messy for the next probably couple years.
I think so.
And then we'll figure out what happens.
The next 2 years are going to show a lot.
Yeah, I agree. I think that I think we're getting a little short-sighted on a lot of things that the reality is this. Professional bass anglers are there to do a multitude of jobs. One is entertainment purposes, right? And that's what you're seeing from the 3 different national professional bass fishing organizations, right? And people will argue all day about the MPFL, but here's the reality. No one else is publicizing professional bass fishing.
I don't want to cut you off, but I'm going to cut you off.
Go ahead.
Because if you look at all of the pros that have been making comments, every single one of them has said BPT, Elites, NPFL. So they're there.
Good. And I want them to be there, right? Like you're seeing a lot of interest from BPT and BASS anglers wanting to go over. Granted, they passed the application process with Brad Fuller with the MPFL, but here's
that kid almost
cornhole board almost
I would have
just
laughed,
broke
and he
both
knows
legs.
it too, dude. Look
And
at
David and Christine are laughing right now.
I would have lost my
But
mind.
here's the thing, right? So professional anglers at the bass fishing level, and there's professional anglers all over the world, right? Whether you're a guide service, you're out in salt water, whatever the case may be. The minuscule population of anglers we're talking about are professional bass anglers. They're entertainers, they're promoters, they're marketing and advertisement, they're competitors, they're all the above, right? The answer is D on the test. But the reality is this, these organizations, like Ben said, like Pete said, they're trying to figure out their way forward. Right?
And
so there's no right or wrong answer in any of it. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
And so the anglers, while at the same time they're paying customers and they want some sort of result from the vendor, are also working for the organization. Ben Milliken said it. We're being 1099. We're paying taxes on our stuff. It's a hard pill to swallow when you're paying for a service but being taxed on it.
And
it's golf.
There you go.
Boxing.
A few years ago. Remember the putters they banned?
Yeah. Yep.
I don't.
It was it was a weird.
It
was like a weird blocky looking. But apparently, I forget. But they were just so much better. They banned them.
Yeah.
They said, people weren't making every single putt, but but they would. They was a lot better, and. So yeah, it's just we've banned stuff in fishing before.
Sure.
Alabama rig, which I think we should bring back, but
100%.
we used to regulate the rod lengths. We regulated. You can't put winches and stuff on your boat and stuff like that.
Saw
So
trees down.
you can't use you can't use a drone underwater.
Yeah.
Go back through the history of sports where you pay to play, you're not guaranteed a salary, and where you finish depends on how much money you make. Boxing, MMA, horse racing, any of it. And you'll see boxing went through glove ounces until they settled on, hey, this is the most fair. I don't watch boxing. So is it 5 ounce gloves, whatever it is? Like in competition, this is the glove ounce that is the most fair for the various body types that we have. The NFL, people have gotten bigger, faster, stronger because of technology, right?
And
we can now tune the human and Wheaties. You can now tune the human body without illegal drugs or growth hormones and all that.
Yeah.
Because we've gotten better at understanding how to make people stronger, right? You look at athletes now, they're faster, they're stronger, they're bigger. I mean, Joe Montana was smoking cigarettes in the locker room. You're not going to catch Patrick Mahomes in the locker room puffing a Marlboro Red in the Super Bowl at halftime and chugging a Miller Lite. Like, it's probably not going to happen.
He may be vaping.
Everything evolves, rules evolve to meet it, and that's where we're at. We're trying to find, like Trey and Ben, and I think we've all said, we're trying to find where that competition versus technology happy medium is.
Yeah.
Where it's not dominated because it's not dominated by technology, because you don't want Johnny Blowhard over there that's good with forward facing that wins every
this
tournament.
Is why I don't know if I agree with that. I mean, like, I want steroids back in baseball. The chicks dig the long ball. I mean, like, I want to see 600-foot long run. I mean, home runs.
Work out more, bro.
Like, I love seeing 10 or 12 century belts of the St. Lawrence River instead of maybe just one or two.
I do if they know how to catch fish, and it's not just because they're good with.
I love seeing 30-pound bags coming out of the river.
Yeah.
On Okeechobee that no one would have ever tried to think about that. I mean, so I don't have organizations, necessarily a problem in regulating. I may disagree on how they go about it.
Yeah.
And so
again,
I don't have
but we're back to
I don't
what you like, what I like, what Trey likes. You've got to find that happy medium.
Exactly.
You're never going to make everybody happy, right? But find the solution that makes everybody at least a little less mad.
But let me interject this.
I don't care what you
all three of these organizations, the top tier of bass fishing, have found their way for 2025.
2025.
And 2025 for the BPT is regulating the use of forward-facing sonar. 2025 for BASS is you can have one and 55 inches of screen, and MPFL is like you can have none. So now I think the crowds, the viewers like we, can tune in to whatever the heck we want to watch. Right now, it's not just the same. If you loved seeing an angler go out there and ping a minnow, good, you can still watch it. If you want to see anglers have a backdrop to the camera, now you can potentially see that. But here's my thing. Here's what will not stop. And we talked about it earlier. You're going to see anglers still using the same exact techniques now that they know the effectiveness of a minnow, of a drop shot, of whatever else. But pending the schedule, and the MPFL hasn't released theirs yet, Bass and BPT has?
Yeah, like months ago.
Yeah, months ago. You're going to be able to see a variety of things happen, right? So I think, like, that's why you're seeing so much interest of BASS and BPT anglers going to or want to go to the MPFL. I think they have made it, and if they were smart, they'd work together and say, hey, listen, we can increase viewership for all three of our organizations by being a little bit different. And Ben, you brought up the NFL and like the rules changes they had, man. Like, man, it's not fishing we're only seeing it in. Like we get so short-sighted. Like, just because you watch fishing doesn't mean don't pay attention to the other sports that are out there.
Yeah, I've got one more thing.
Go for it.
I'm done talking about it.
All right.
So let's talk about stuff that actually matters, because fishing doesn't matter. I don't care if you fish for a living. It doesn't matter. It's not important.
Can we get some beers?
Really and truly,
unless you're feeding your family,
it still isn't important. Yeah. It's not as important as other things that are going on in the world. To me, I'm sorry. Like, you can go get a job at Walgreens and feed your family. Like,
that's right.
You've made a decision to do the fishing thing. You're gambling on yourself.
Listen to this.
Yeah, Walgreens, you're listening to this. Holler at us. Let's talk about something that's really important. Mike Johns, we've talked about him from FX3.
Yeah.
He's doing everything he can to end veteran suicide. He lost a soldier last night, somebody that he had been helping, and unfortunately, that soldier decided that the best way forward for them was to end their own life, and I'm here to say that that's never the best way forward, no matter what. It's not, I promise you.
Yeah.
Reach out. There's plenty of organizations we've talked about. We're here supporting one right now. So again, if you're in the Raleigh area, come to Raleigh Tap Yard. There's kids running around playing. Bring your kids. There's beer. There's barbecue. There's hot dogs. There's good conversation to be had. There's warriors here from all different assets. We actually met one earlier, just randomly BSing that was an F-18 pilot.
I know, right?
So thank you for your service. So you happen to catch this. It was awesome to meet you, and thanks for letting us pet your dog for like an hour. She was a sweetheart.
Dog Betty.
Betty the sweetheart. But and I'm not trying to downplay any of our friends or anybody that's listening that is trying to feed your family through bass fishing, but these real world things are they hurt us. I want to remind everybody, and this is, I know I put in the description, we're going to talk mental health, and the whole fishing thing went a little longer, but I just want to remind everybody that trauma is trauma. Like, it doesn't matter what you've been through in life. If it's impacted you and it's something that keeps you up at night, reach out to ourselves, to one of the many organizations. I now leave the suicide hotline 988 in our description every week. I leave Mike John's phone number in there every week in the description, because I think it's important to share that. We've shared our phone numbers before, and if you need me, ping me. I will give it to you. Just send me a message, unless your name is like Shania Bangs and you're from Bangkok and you're clearly an ISIS informant or something. I'm probably not going to send it to you, but if I can tell you're a real person and you want my phone number, I will send it to you, and I'm there to talk to you.
That's all right. He can.
Yeah, he's good. You can watch all you want, dude.
What's
yeah,
up,
you're
dude?
good, brother.
He's like, don't put that hat.
Yeah,
on
just
me,
don't
brother.
put another hat on me, please. Whatever you do.
You know, let me jump in here and second what Pete said. You know, we've had a lot of good friends. You know, Dave and his wife Christina are down from Jersey. My buddy Ryan came here. He got to meet everybody. You know, he's currently active duty. We got the F-18 pilot. And there's more that are in the crowd right now. You know, the reality is this: trauma's trauma. We're here for you. We have our trauma ourselves, and so don't be surprised when we dump our trauma on YouTube, because we need to talk about it as well. But if this platform can do anything that's successful, and that's to give you the option to speak and talk to us and voice your feelings and frustrations and things like that, like that's what we're here all about, right? So take a Warrior Fishing events going on right now, Warrior Fest. We got so many different options where you can just come and talk to us and stuff like that. And Pete said, Ben, myself, and Pete puts our phone numbers out there for people. You know, Mike Johns, man, like, you're a good buddy of ours. We go back a long ways. Well, 2022, ICAST 2022. You know, Mike lost a good buddy last night. You know, a Marine, a leatherneck that took his own life, and it's just something that we just overlook because we're so hyper focused on like little intangible things that really don't matter. And so, like Pete said, we're not trying to take it away from any professional bass angler or anybody that's in the fishing world's perspective, but for fishing sonar doesn't matter.
It's not that important.
Right? Technology doesn't matter, right? For us as a viewer, we talk about it, but at the end of the day, your life matters.
You matter,
right?
Your life matters.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Every single one of you matter. Yeah. Whether it's your first time listening, you've been listening for a long time, you've never listened, and you just come across this on the internet randomly. Like, I think every single one of us will let you know that we understand shit's hard. Yeah. If you don't like hearing this type of content, I'm going to give you a warning. Like, you probably don't want to listen to the next couple episodes, because we got a whole bunch of stuff coming about the power of the outdoors and how it has saved people from everything from suicide to addiction to whatever it may be. It's a powerful tool to get out with somebody on the water and be able to talk. And if you are one of those people who wants to compare traumas, I ask you to take a long look in the mirror and just understand that trauma is trauma. It doesn't matter if it's trauma while serving our country overseas, if it's trauma while serving your country here at home, or if it's trauma for something you experienced, whether it be a violent crime, sexual abuse, something in your childhood. It's still trauma, right?
It's the worst thing you ever experienced. And it's the worst thing you ever experienced.
And I hope
it's we have nothing to compare it to. I mean, so that's what I'm saying is like comparing trauma. Like, like people compare trauma. Like someone may think, okay, that's nothing, or but like even if you think it's nothing, like that's the worst thing that person's gone through.
Yeah, you're
Amen.
absolutely right,
So,
Ben.
yeah.
And you know what? Like, let's exclude the professional anglers from this. Like, fishing is meant to reconnect you with nature. You know, Rick Clunn had it right, man. He really truly had it right. And like, if you can help yourself reconnect with the things that are most important to you, what you value, what you appreciate in life, you know, there's nobody that can be more happy than a person that's grateful for everything that they have. And we want to help you get that way. Like, the outdoors is meant for you to connect and just reflect and do all those things that really we forget to do about on a daily basis, whether or not you caught up in the big city life or you're out there in the rural communities that are alone and unafraid. It doesn't matter. Like, fishing, the outdoors, other people that have like-minded perspectives of you, we're here for you. And so don't worry about Ford Fishing Sonar. Don't worry about professional fishing. Those guys have their own problems, and we're here for them just as much as we're here for you. And we appreciate everybody that's helping us grow this platform, man. We truly do.
And we have more coming with anglers on both sides of what they're dealing with, because it does. I didn't want to downplay, and Ben's like, well, unless they're trying to feed their family. You're absolutely right. Like, if that's your job to feed your family,
100%.
I understand how important that
I
is
didn't mean
to
that
you.
I meant that as like people literally catching fish to feed
No,
their family.
I'm 1,000% with you. Like, but at the end of the day, we all have to realize that we're all going through shit, and we've all been through some shit. And
That's
I know
right.
we don't usually use language here, but it's the best way to put it. Like, and you don't know what the person next to you's been through. Reach out to us, man. We want to take you fishing. Like, Ryan, who Trey was talking about, one of his buddies he met last year. We were rapping earlier, and he lives right by Wheeler Lake here in Raleigh, and he's like, I'll pay the boat fee. And I'm like, let's get it, dude.
Let's
like,
do
you don't
it.
even have to pay the boat fee. Let's just get out there and let's go chase some fish around the dang lake.
Let me tell you something right now. Ryan, who's a Green Beret in the United States Army, is getting ready to retire the exact same day as me.
Yeah.
I promise you, he's seen some shit.
Yeah.
Right?
We're going to
Like,
get him fishing.
We're going to get him fishing. We're going to help him reconnect with the things that maybe he grew up with, that so many of us for years and years and years just go ahead and say, oh, let that fall to the wayside. And that's okay. If fishing in the outdoors is not for you, I guarantee you there's something for you. It doesn't have to be that. It could be at a tap yard like we're at here in Raleigh right now at the tap yard, drinking some beers with some friends, with some like-minded people, having people drive down from Jersey with us, watching kids play Connect 4, which is hilarious.
Is that the name of the game?
Yeah, it's Connect,
Connect
4,
4.
right? Like, all these types of things. There's this toddler right now running up
Yeah,
to
dude,
David
he's a
Hughes.
homie.
You know, he's definitely a little G and stuff like that, but we're here for you guys.
He just bowed up on David Fuchs. I think he's about to whoop his ass.
I like his short.
You better watch yourself, David. That dude's about to knock you out, bro.
He said,
He walked out and said, "What you got,
Yeah,
dog?"
he said- He said, I don't care if you used to be a cop. He said, I'm gonna give you a 5-finger discount.
I'm gonna
to
slap
what's
the
going
taste
on."
out of your mouth, boy. No, but yeah, you can't see me.
Yeah.
But no, honestly, like, if you're in the Raleigh area, I would love for y'all to come up here. We're gonna hang out for a little bit after this.
That's right.
Barbecue, too.
Pete and Ben are buying me some beers.
Oh, I'm apparently buying Trey beers because I
Yeah.
got to drive. So
I mean, my tab's open right now.
so
So,
is mine. Yeah. Just,
hey, if you come up here
That's
within
good. That's
the
good
next-
news to know.
If
Yeah.
you guys come up here within the next 30 minutes, my tab's open. I'm gonna buy you a beer. I promise.
oh, Trey's buying everybody beer.
That's
You heard
right.
that here first.
Babe, I'm sorry. I got you.
No, but check out warriorfishing.org. Wherever you are in the country, there's opportunities. Check out heroesharvest.org.
And when's their next event?
November.
It's the weekend before the SOBA tournament.
So
So that's
that's-
going to talk about too. So that is
Soba's Veterans Day weekend.
Yeah,
That's
so I
right.
have my phone put up.
It's like the
Trey
11th
can
or
look.
12th. Usually the
It's
11th.
8th, I believe.
The
is
11th is Veterans Day, so it's the Friday before.
Yeah, I think it's the 8th this year. Let me pull up
So it's
November. So the
it
8th.
is the 8th.
So the next Warrior Fishing is the 2nd, Saturday,
Okay.
November 2nd.
Oh, that's right. That's an all species event
It's an all species
at
event.
Holloman Ramp on Sharon Harris, or we call her Karen Harris sometimes. But that is a great opportunity to get a veteran outdoors. It doesn't matter what species you catch, they got prizes for catfish and other species like that. But that is a great time.
And then if you're a boater, or if you're a team that's already fishes the area, whatever, make sure you check out the SOBA event Friday the 8th,
That's right.
which is Special Operations Bass Anglers. That is a great tournament. We're all going to be there.
Yep.
Mike Johns is going to be there. The Fuchs family is going to be there. They've got a friend coming down. My old man's coming down. We're going to be hanging out for the better part of that week, actually, in that area.
Yep.
We'll do some fishing. We'll probably do a Fishing Friday live again from the house like we did last year. And then we're going to go out and have some fun, fish the tournament. We're going to fish Saturday for fun. We're just going to hang out. And I'm really looking forward to that one. It's a great event, lots of great prizes, lots of great people.
It's the annual Mark McCowan Special Operations Bass Anglers charity event, which is dedicated every single year to a different special operator that has paid the ultimate sacrifice for their family and for this country. And so if you who are listening served in the special operations community or who are currently serving in the SOF community, you can nominate a different special operator every single year. You just shoot us a DM, or you can shoot Nick Kincaid a DM. It doesn't matter, and we will get them enrolled. Obviously, there's more special operators than there are years left, probably in our lives, to dedicate that memorial to. But it is a great cause, and man, I'll tell you what, meeting Shaw Grigsby last year, and there's probably going to be more pros that come out. Major League Fishing donates their weigh-in trailer. It is such a cool deal. I don't care if it's raining and it's November and it's on Lake Norman and it sucks. It's awesome.
Comic Man Andy said November 2nd sounds cold. You're definitely from the north. If I remember right, you're from Michigan.
I don't know.
I fished it last year in a flip-flop, so we're good.
Yeah,
bro.
so did Mike John.
Yeah,
he regretted that.
Well, you had to have rain gear first thing in the morning.
And not cotton sweats on.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Mike Johns.
And maybe not cotton sweats.
And a t-shirt.
You know, he's built different.
No, he's not.
No, he's not. That dude looked like he was about to fall out. Old Florida boy.
Yeah,
and we're talking cold. It was like 67 degrees.
It was a little colder in the morning,
a
little colder in the morning. But yeah, no, it's a great time. So
yeah,
we don't have that northern. How do we sign up for Warrior Fishing? Just head to warriorfishing.com, Comic Man Andy. There's links in there to sign up if you're a veteran. If you're a boater, there's also a link.
Yeah.
You just follow those, send them your information. They'll get you hooked up. If you are a veteran, if you are a boater that wants to take veterans, you can sign up on there. We'll reach out to you. That's actually my job. We'll get up with you, figure out when and where, and then we'll open it up to our veterans and let them get you hooked up with them to take them out fishing. So I know Dave Fuchs is about to take somebody up in New Jersey. We've had trips in Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Florida, all over the place. So we're trying to grow this thing. So if you're in a state that's not North Carolina, definitely reach out if you're a boater and would be willing to take some veterans out. We can't pay you. I wish we could, but
you can. You can pay them by doing a good service and taking some
exactly,
getting them connected to the outdoors. You know?
We can provide tax forms though for fuel and stuff if that's a concern, so you can get a write off out of it. But we can't send you gas money or anything like that. I know we've had some folks ask, but that's not what it's about, in my opinion.
Yep.
It's about getting those folks out on the water, experience outdoor therapy. So make sure you check them out. Make sure you check out Heroes Harvest, especially if you're wanting to hunt. If you're one of our folks that's listening and is into hunting more than fishing, Heroes Harvest does trips all over the place. Fishing's going to step up with Heroes Harvest once Trey retires.
I know. I'll be retired next year.
That's what he's saying.
Yeah, 100%.
We're going to hold him to it.
I'm going to take people fishing. I'm going to organize some events and stuff like that. But hey, real quick, we're getting ready to come up on the better half of an hour here. We get a band ready to get up here and play some live music and stuff, which you guys unfortunately won't be able to see unless you come down to the Tap Yard in Raleigh. But I want to reconnect our message at the very beginning. Those who support us the most, please show them some love. David Fuchs.
Use our codes
or
links.
Head on over to OneCastFishing.com. Use the code to OneCast. I know Josh Watkins just got out there. I think he did the other night and ordered some Nighthawks. If he didn't, I'm calling him out right now. Josh Watkins, order some Nighthawks. Use the code to OneCast on OneCastFishing.com. Save some money at checkout. Head on over to CarolinaWatersNC.com. Get yourself some outdoor apparel, some UPF 50 gear. Head on over to the link that Pete always drops in the description to HobieEyewear.com. Use our link. You're going to save 15% at checkout. And then finally, our new partner, if you haven't listened to the episode that dropped with Braden from Deep Dive, head on over to Deep Dive. Get yourself that application that really helps you guys break down any sort of body of water they're interested in from bait usage to wind-blown points to water discharge points to water clarity, all those cool things that app has to offer. We've been using it for a while now, and you guys will be able to break down water a lot more effectively, and then use the OneCast fishing baits and the Carolina Waters apparel and the Hobie eyewear to stay protected while you're on the water and catch more fish. That's all I have.
On you, Ben.
Ooh!
That was a good wrap up there. I
All
thought
right.
you hit all our, you know.
I
hit all
mean,
our-
David and Christine owe me a cold drink right now. Pete, you did a great job at opening up with the BPT and the BASS rules and regulations. Ben, all of us provided our viewership perspective. We appreciate all of you following along. This channel has grown significantly. We're here for you. We're here at the Take a Warrior fishing event, the Warrior Fest right now, and help us continue to grow a culture of anglers helping anglers, one cast at a time.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Oh God, it's a toad, son. It's a toad, dude.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day.